Main Assembly, a game about you being a drone in which you can create basically anything you want, is probably one of the better creative games. This video is my in-depth review on Main Assembly. Before we get to the actual review, let's go to the backstory of it. Few days ago, I was on Steam searching for some games because I was bored, and then I stumbled upon Main Assembly. I'd actually tried this game in open beta a year ago and bought it again to see how it was now, and frankly, I was pretty astonished. Let's just get to the review now. Firstly, we'll be looking upon the graphics of the game. The graphics of the game are amazing. The creations are a bit cartoony and the land is realistic, but that's what makes the game beautiful. Also, just to note, this game is an early access game. And there aren't many creative games that are this good in early access. Just look at this goddamn car. It looks amazing, not gonna lie. This game is pretty good. I'm gonna be giving it a 9 out of 10. Because, the game doesn't have post-processing effects. So that's why I didn't give it 10 out of 10. What I mean by post-processing effects are basically dust, air, wind, all those type of stuff. They aren't really included in the game, so I'm gonna be giving this a 9 out of 10. Now for the gameplay. The gameplay of the game is very interesting. The game has 3 modes: challenge mode, sandbox, and bot brawl. This game also has multiplayer, but the only real problem is the learning curve and the time that has to be spent. You gotta spend a lot of time if you want to get successful results, and the learning curve is pretty high. There aren't many YouTube tutorials either, and the game's tutorials sometimes won't help you enough, or simply just won't suffice. Well, now let's get to the modes. So our first mode is going to be challenge mode. In this mode, you have to go to different challenges. There are a total of 115 levels as of writing this, and there are about 7 different maps for this. So you will get different blocks or parts progressively through completing the levels. It's a really fun game mode, and you also get cosmetics which you can use for your drone. Sadly, you can't play this game mode in multiplayer. Sandbox mode. In this mode, you can make your creations without any limitations, and you can create whatever you want. There are 4 different maps for this too. You can play this game in multiplayer. Pretty great, not gonna lie. And now we have bot brawl. It's a game mode in which you can play with your friends, and the goal is to break your opponent's bot. You can either knock them into the hole or destroy the controller seat. Now let's talk about the building system and other mechanics. The building system is very unique. It uses a polygonal system, which basically means you connect a lot of dots together to make shapes and objects. This gives scope for limitless ideas. Flipping. The programming or logic system. The programming is node-based, in which you can have multiple inputs and outputs and tons of different operations. There are a few cons to this, however. It's a bit hard to understand for beginners, and just like any coding system or even scripting system, you can't really understand the code of another player, because mostly it's spaghetti code. It's time to conclude the gameplay section of the video. So the game on its own is pretty good. I'd be giving it an 8 out of 10. But the only real problem I'm seeing here is probably going to be the learning curve. Just like any other sandbox game, it's gonna take time to learn. Especially this game, it's much harder to learn than other games because of how little people play it. It's still an early access game after all, and it doesn't have that many players since it was released just this year. And there aren't many tutorials either which are that detailed or just that good. So that's why the game is a bit hard to learn. Now for the conclusion. The game overall is really amazing. I really recommend playing it as it is really good and everything about the game is great and it's worth a buy. So why not just buy it on Steam? Yeah, it's on Steam. I forgot to say that. Well, now if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to my channel and me.